ACGT Tour Report Power Hour, powered by NothingisOB Golf Podcast.
Good evening, Alamo City Golf Tour. My name is Mike D. Welcome to the Alamo City Golf Tour Power Hour, brought to you by NothingisOB Podcast. Andy Torres, thank you. Before we get started, I want to give a shout out to our sponsors. First and foremost, Elevated Logistics, our man Ricky Hoinsey. Thank you so much for all you do. Elevated Logistics, I'm going to put up some information here for you guys to see real quick. Reach out to Rick for any of your needs. Also want to give a big shout out to one of our biggest sponsors here, Goosehead Insurance, presented by Sean Sexton. Again, Sean, great guy. Appreciate all he does for the tour. And as always, give these guys a call if there's anything that you need, anything that you guys are needing assistance with. Before we get started here, I'm going to go ahead and bring on Travis Salkowski. Big Trav.
Woo! Whoop, happy Tuesday night. How is everybody doing today? Hopefully they're having a good Tuesday. Awesome to be back. MD, thank you for being here with us, hosting the podcast tonight. Shout out to all those sponsors, Sean Sexton, Goosehead Insurance, Rick Hoinsey with Elevated Logistics, same-day delivery leaders in Texas, and the Sean Sexton QR code. Day of tournament, all the nose to players, scorecard, and the Golf Genius app all have QR codes that you can get directly to Goosehead Insurance and the Sexton Agency and get a quote right there using the QR code that you get at tournament. Other than that, let's bring on the rest of the talent.
Let's see if we can find him.
Where'd he go? Is he here? He was just here. There he is. There's the rest of the talent. The main man himself, JB, Jason Bird.
We'll see if Jay Bird is out there.
I mean, I'm just glad to be called talent
here, but I don't know if he's there or not. I think he's having some technical difficulties. I'm going to go ahead and take him off for right now. But Travis, how was your weekend, my friend?
My weekend was great. I got a ton of stuff done. Happy 4th of July. Happy Independence Day, everybody. Happy birthday, America. For those that know me, I'm a true blue, a patriotic guy. So love seeing the fireworks. We didn't get to go to anyone this year, but there's a big burn ban in most of the hill country, so we didn't get to set anything off. However, my dogs and horses appreciated the no fireworks this year, so they had a good time with that. But played a little golf. Bought a new truck. I mean, it was a good weekend for Trav.
Got the sod down.
And family. We laid some sod down. Sabrina and I put down 6 pallets of sod around our new pool. Kaylin got a pool this year, and Sabrina and I put down some sod around the pool, just finishing touches. I got super sunburned. Of course he has a picture. Rockstar. Yes, that was my back on Saturday evening. Always wear sunscreen, ACGT Tour. And we turned it into marketing. Ladies and gentlemen, MD, ambassador of media relations. Everything is marketing. Bad publicity is good publicity, right? But it was a great family weekend, long weekend. Spent lots of time with Sabrina, lots of time with Kaylin. We were in and out of the pool. Lots done. How was your weekend? Did you get to golf? It was the kiddo's birthday for you.
It was Miss Emma's second birthday. This was the first weekend I think in a while I didn't touch my golf clubs. I went and hit golf balls on Saturday or maybe Sunday afternoon when she was napping, and that was really the first time in a full week I hadn't touched my clubs. But I do have a few pictures here. So first, shout out to Laura Lewis, Cake Place and More. made some amazing cookies for Emma's second birthday. She totally hooked us up. I kind of just said, hey, I think we want to do the number 2, and I will leave it to your stylistic design and vision to generate something beautiful. And she absolutely crushed it.
I think they're so cool. Each one was different. I thought the princess tiara was super cool.
We got some good pictures of her eating it. We did like 25, 26. So the kids at daycare each got one that went home in their backpacks with them today and everything like that. The teachers all liked it. And then I got a little picture of Emma here just sitting next to her.
Hold on 1 second. Does she not look, everybody watching at home, does she not look exactly like the little girl from Monsters, Inc. 1?
So that is always when she does the double. When she does
double pigtails. I mean, look at that. Can we pull up that picture? Do you have a picture of that we?
I will find it.
Yeah, I mean, this
later.
is crazy. I'm sorry, we're off topic here. No, it is an off weekend.
It is. An off
we don't have a tour event to recap. Ladies and gentlemen, just watching. There's Jason. Looks like he's logging in. We can see you now.
I do have one more picture, Travis. We took her. You know, she's 2, so it's not really like she knows what her birthday is. She gets super excited when we sing happy birthday. But we took her to Target. Said you can get whatever you want.
Okay, and there we go.
I mean, that is all the toys that she was drawn to. She was drawn to the 3-foot tall T-Rex.
Who isn't?
And she walked around the store the entire time holding this guy, and just.
I'm telling you, that is a carbon copy of the kid from Monsters, Inc.
Yep.
I mean, that is the kid from Monsters, Inc. is your kid.
I mean, thank God she doesn't look anything like me. Thank God that's mom.
It's a lot of mom in there, you know.
It's dad's attitude and dad's like kind of being a butthead, but it's mom's looks, thankfully.
Well,
did we lose Jason?
Jason's here. I can see him. Can you see him?
I can't see him. Hi, Jason.
There. Can you hear him?
Do you hear me?
I can't hear him.
I can hear Jason. I can hear and I can see Jason. Sorry, viewers at home. We're appear to be having some technical difficulty. I can see Jason. And
I see myself.
Jason, and Jason's there, but MD can't see him.
I am in the live stream. I've confirmed it.
Can you hear him?
I mean, I got nothing.
Wow. Okay. Well, I mean, he's there. I can see him and I can see you. I'm on the bottom.
I see a black screen. I just see a black screen in my top corner that shows Jason Bird. It does not show him. I guess maybe I just wasn't. I'm going to do something real quick. Let's see. I took him out and added him. Well, maybe I need to go.
Yeah,
maybe I just need to log out.
Let's kick you. Jason, you're on, right? You're here with me?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah.
Okay,
I'm
well,
here.
I mean, I can kill the time by myself if MD logs off and it goes black. There we go. Okay.
I could see myself the whole time. I was freaking out. I was like, I see myself in the stream. I see myself in the studio. I don't understand what's going on.
Well, okay, for everyone just tuning in, welcome to the ACGT Tour Power Hour, experiencing technical difficulties on MD, our host's end. But Jason, welcome to the show. 8 minutes in, you only missed 8.5 minutes of us talking about our weekends. How was your?
I heard the whole thing. I was here. Yeah.
Oh, well, you didn't miss anything. Well, we certainly missed you.
I don't know.
How was your weekend?
That was great. I mean, I played a lot of golf, more than I actually planned on to. It worked out. I played a lot of golf. So towards the end there, it felt like we were in Kohler because I'd played so much and like the scores are slowly creeping up. Getting a little fatigued.
Well, I definitely got to play one round of golf with Jason over the weekend, and he hit the ball great. We played at TPC on the Oaks course this past weekend, and it was a blast. It was me, Jason, Casey Graham, Dustin Hassan, and Ambassador Micah Carroll, who I believe is joining us on the show later if we continue to not experience any more technical difficulty. But it sure feels like MD's been gone a long time.
Yeah, he hasn't come back. That's fine. When he rejoins us, we'll bring him back in the studio, and we'll have more talent. I haven't seen Micah yet, but he'll be here later.
Okay, terrific.
I mean, TPC was fun this weekend. I was in good shape. I like to say it's in perfect shape for the Punch Monster coming up on Monday. So
there is airification going on at TPC. There's some brainstorming going on involving that place and the future partnerships, I guess. I don't know, I'm teasing stuff, but course was in good shape. It was fun to get out and play golf. It's always nice. I try to play on the off tour weeks. I will not get a chance to play the week after Cedar, but I try to play and maintain some sort of game in the off weekends. But all right, we're going to go ahead and progress the show a little bit here without MD. I'm concerned that he's been gone for a while. Maybe the technical difficulty was on his end and not your end. I mean, you said you could see yourself the whole time.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure.
Well, let's get right into it. Jason, let's talk about Cedar Creek. ACGT Tour Summer Event number 3 is next up. It is this Saturday at Cedar Creek. Tell us about the course conditions at Cedar Creek around the rumor mill, and tell us how many spots we got left for registration, buddy.
Well, as we heard from Ruben last podcast, they lost a well and they prioritized tee boxes and greens, which, I mean, I think we can all agree is a good priority.
Agreed completely.
So I haven't personally been out there yet this week, but I will be out there later this week. But what I've heard from, my various group chats and the San Antonio Golfers forums is that tees and greens are okay. They're too good, maybe even great, fast and firm. And then the fairways are just baked because they didn't have that well to water them. So they are like, the word I heard was like runways at San Antonio International.
There we go. Well, there's your fun fact for the day. The fairways at Cedar Creek are fast and furious. Controlling the ball off the tee will be paramount to victory success at Cedar Creek in ACGT Tour Spring Event number 4. Jason, can we put the website across the bottom? www.acgttour.golf. Michael Freeman, thanks for watching. A lot of washout from the rain last week. The ACGT Tour Setup Committee will be out there all day on Friday setting up the golf course. So
Freeman plays out there a lot. He'd be the authority on the conditions.
That's a great comment. Weather-related course issues always seem to creep up on that rule sheet in real time, real quick. So, for example, if we're playing lift cleaner place or lift clean rake in place in the bunkers, or there is extra ground under repair for whatever reason, always consult your rule sheet that will be on the golf carts or available at the starters tent for tour events, because that is where you guys are going to get the most up-to-the-minute information about the tournament rules that you guys have to play week in and week out. It's frustrating when someone's like, oh, I didn't know the cart path extended, or I didn't know it was lift clean rake in place in the bunkers. Well, I can see the rule sheet on the steering wheel of your cart. I know it's there.
Yeah. And so the comment after that's always, well, the starter didn't say anything. Well, I'm not trying to start anything here, but the starter's not going to tell you every rule on the rule sheet. They're not going to go down the entire list. It's on you to read your rule sheet.
There are 10 minutes in between tee times, and there's a lot going on in those 10 minutes, and it takes you 3 minutes to tee off, so that's really effectively net 7 minutes. You got to round them up. You got tons to go over. You got skins issues to take care of, past gift cards. In the future, there'll be some merchandise opportunities at the starters tent as well. There's a lot going on at the starters tent. Take the time to read the rule sheet. It's not worded. There was a rule in the old rule book that I really loved, and they changed the wording in the revision in 2019. Rule 6 in the old rule book was golfers are responsible for knowing the rules and could get penalized for something they were unaware of. I think that rings so true. I can see MD. Jason, can you see MD?
Can you guys see me, hear me?
I hear him, see him, and everything.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome MD back to the show. We are through the technical difficulty, 14 minutes and 55 seconds in. Thank you, everybody, for watching. MD, I'll turn it back over to you. Jason and I were just shooting the shit about Cedar Creek, number of signups left, course conditions, and we were just talking about the importance of reading the local rule sheet day of tournament there. I'll turn it back over to you in your Yabba Dabba Doo shirt.
Someone can just walk up to the starters tent and pick up a rule sheet when they arrive on the course and read it at their leisure before they tee off. Don't rely on the starter to relay information. They'll try their best, but
the starters do a great job. I think it's read the rule sheet, especially at some of these golf courses. I mean, look at Cedar. Cedar's going to be one of those places you're going to want to have that rule sheet. You're going to want to know where those different markers are and where those local rules are in play, because I mean, it's a difficult golf course, but it's certainly something for pace of play purposes and just for general usage. It's going to be critical. That's one of the documents we will not email because it can change 10 minutes before the first tee time. So that is a document that will never be part of the first notice to players. It just won't. So read that local rule sheet, know what's going on. Formats, max scores change, skins change, rule sheets change from tournament to tournament. That's important. We got off on a sidebar while we were fighting the difficulty there. How bad is my delay? It's real bad for me looking at the screen.
You're lagging a little bit, yeah.
A little bit.
Okay.
Well, I do apologize. I don't know why my laptop didn't want to let me in. I don't know if it's because I think maybe Jason has admin rights or something and maybe just didn't want me to have it at the same time or what. I'm in on my phone, though, so I'm back. So obviously talking a little bit about Cedar, talking a little bit about signups, obviously talking a little bit about local rule sheet. Really agenda for tonight, guys. Again, we want to jump into Cedar Creek a little bit more, talk about the importance of stroke play here, talk about this event. It's going to be exciting. Jump into a little bit more of BRAC, Talk 99. Love to hear who some people have as their partners. Jason, always interested to hear who you have. And then talk about the swinging South Side kind of rolled into it and talk about some of the different stuff that we have going on in the summer events coming up, and kind of talk about some of those events coming up.
Absolutely. What did we call that last week? The summer sizzling South Side swing?
The sizzling South Side summer swing. Say that 5 times fast.
Awesome. Love it.
The South Side swing. That's a t-shirt. So we already talked a little bit about Cedar. You guys talk a little bit about. I do apologize. I'm catching up here on my end. Did we talk a little bit about course conditions?
No, you're good. We were just shooting around. You're good to go. Yeah.
We talked about the fairways being concrete and the greens being fast and firm. Everything we love about Cedar Creek.
I always love playing Cedar. Always love that golf course, and playing it in an individual stroke play, I think is just so much fun. There's so much, I think, from that standpoint of I think I do more prep work, or I kind of think through what I'm going to do. Like, I'll sit up at night. I texted Travis. I was like, all I do is think about golf, and I just wonder if golf thinks about me. And I know it doesn't, but you know what?
Is that like Quick Trip?
It's like Quick Trip. Sometimes I wonder if Quick Trip is thinking about me too.
But
that's an inside joke from the Manitowoc Minute. Quick Trip is a Wisconsin gas station brand spelled with a K, KWIK. Quick Trip.
I think about Cedar, and I feel like I'm going to just be playing driving iron. I'm going to let those concrete fairways just roll out for days. And, it's such a strategic golf course. I love that golf course.
I really like Cedar too.
I often wonder if we're just playing for second place behind Michael Freeman.
Well, Michael Freeman played good at Willow, right? So going into his home course at Cedar, He is the favorite at Cedar. I mean, I was looking at the schedule. When was the last time we had individual stroke play at Cedar?
It's been a while. I don't think maybe 2019.
3 seasons?
3 seasons, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a long time. I mean, that's 60 events.
In all fairness,
I mean-
we try to avoid doing that for pace of play reasons. But we talked about it and we said, we got to do it. We can't just keep doing the individuals at Riverside because we could play that in 410. Eventually, we got to go to the other courses,
But I think, I also think the tour itself, I think the players, I think pace of play is in a good place. I think this will be a great test.
That is a really good point. We've been talking so much about the good pace of play and how we've got some pairing formats and some standard operating procedures in place to help with pace of play. Ladies and gentlemen, here's the first test: Cedar Creek individual stroke play.
Consider it a secondary challenge for all the tour players out in the field that day. It's not only try and shoot your personal best, but also try and beat what has typically been a longer round of golf. Let's be very aware of your pace. Set that kind of tone for yourself.
And it's another big field. Jason, where are we at with open registrations?
Well, I know we talked about it this morning. We're officially sold out, but we're going to leave the online ones open because we can squeeze them in based on what the trails T block is. I think we're at 119 officially, and then we can add the extra 15 online. So I don't think we can do really more than 135 though.
Anticipating.
I agree. That's awesome. Congratulations, ACGT Tour golfers. Another sellout in the summer season of the Alamo City Golf Trail Tour. We're going to look at 120 golfers plus. That puts us at a minimum of 5 flights, potentially 6 if we get a late surge. We will keep registration open until 5 p.m. tomorrow night. That is 5 p.m. on Wednesday. And then notice to players will come out late. Thursday night. I'm sorry. Registration closes Wednesday. Notice to players 1 comes out Thursday. Notice to players 2 will come out Friday. Is that accurate, MD? That's accurate, right?
That is as accurate as you can be. It's almost like you are reading the text you sent me.
I wasn't. I was trying to paraphrase the text that I sent you, so that's why I was verifying it with you.
But it's been verified.
Verifies all of the data that goes on the Facebook page, MD.
Yes.
And then we've got 2 more events open for registration after that. We've got Brackenridge Park,
still have
new format 9-9, and then Riverside individual stroke play is open for registration. Jason, tell us about quantities for Riverside and tell us about quantities for the new format at the newly renovated bunkered Brackenridge Park. Bunkered, I made a word there. Bunker 'D. Bunkered.
Bunkered's a word.
I mean, I see that Mr. Trevor Cockerham's announcing his return to the tour.
There we go. I love the profile pic right there. So aggressive.
ACGT.com.
USA. Happy birthday, America.
Let's go.
Trevor, consider yourself put on the list, buddy. You can pay in the pro shop on the day of. Anyway,
120.
9-9. You want to know how many people are signed up already for that one?
Yeah, I want to know how many people are signed up for the 3 week from now Brackenridge Park new format 9-9.
That will be news
I hope it's a big number. I hope it's
a big number. Let me log in and figure this out.
I think this one's gonna be in a good spot.
I think this will be the most popular event of the summer season. I think it's a
without
fun format.
Question.
Who doesn't want to play scramble at Brack? Who doesn't want to play alternate shot at Brack? The opportunity to go really low. The course has improved so much from the week of the Masters when we moved the Masters away from Brackenridge Park to Almost Basin. And I'm really excited to be at Brack. We haven't been at Brackenridge Park since January 29th. I had to pull open the spring calendar. We haven't been to Brackenridge Park in 6 months. That's how long it's been. I'm really excited to be back there. It is one of my favorite courses on the planet, and new format. I'm super excited to be there.
I mean, I haven't been to Brack since April. I legitimately miss that golf course.
I don't have, obviously, I don't go there and I don't get to see it, and I don't have the ability to go see it every day, but the pictures that they're posting and some of the flyovers,
they look good.
It looks great.
And I think Michael Freeman made a comment on last week's podcast that you could see the bunkers from the space station.
Yes.
When you turn the corner on 281, and you could see them from the highway, or when you pull.
That's pretty cool.
When you walk out the side door of the pro shop, and that one on 18 is like, it's like looking into a ring light.
Yeah, you gotta wear your pit vipers, or else you burn your eyes out.
I agree completely.
I think it's going to be a really strong and really great return back to Brack. I think for a lot of us, we each have our own reasons or our own memories there. But that golf course, I think, is a really great golf course, and we all have something that we love about that place. I'm excited to go back, and I think it's also fun just because it's a partner event. I think there's a mix of like, you're a little bit tenser in a partner contest, or you're having a little bit more fun depending on the situation. Like, I'll be honest, me and Joey Workman are going to be rocking the Third Flight Great shirt. I did go out today. I went out today and I specifically bought the full brim, like cowboy hat looking hat like he has, just because. I mean, why not? It's just.
What are those? What are those called? Like the boonie hats or something?
No,
I don't.
The hat that he has actually.
It's got like a fedora kind of look to it.
It would be classified as a fedora. I know we had a fedora conversation at Northern Hills for a while, but it would be classified as a fedora. But his hat is a specific brand that you can submerge. Like, you can get the hat completely soaked, and by design, and wear it wet. It doesn't lose shape. Doesn't
like
lose.
I got it
rigidness.
at Dick's Sporting Goods, so I'm in like the hunting and outdoors area specifically. So like I'm like,
okay.
It seemed like that was going to be the most like durable like outdoor thing, but it's going to be sick because you know what, me and Joey Workman I'm going to be rocking that hat. I'm going to be trying to be cool like Joe. Like
it's tough to rock the knickers the way Joe Workman rocks the knickers. Third flighters are people too, MD. Don't forget that.
Yes.
I have nothing but love
second-rate people.
Oh, whoa, easy. Shots fired. Shots fired. Let's switch the subjects. Bird, do you have our information that we need? Do we know how many people are signed up for the 9-9?
Yeah, 9-9? There are 108 people signed up.
Holy bejesus, ladies and gentlemen. That is 54 teams. That is 54 teams. Oh my gosh, that's so much more than I was expecting. That is insane. We are a month away from this tournament, and it is almost sold out. So
I mean,
there are 9 spots. There are 9 team spots left.
Yeah.
I mean, there are 9 team spots left for Brackenridge Park 3 weeks in advance. Everybody watching at home, thank you so much for watching. But if you want to play at Brackenridge Park, sign up now.
You got to get signed up
Sign up now. I mean, I don't know what else to say. It is going to sell out, and it's going to sell out big, and there's going to be a huge waiting list for it. Sign up now. New format, Brackenridge Park, July the 24th. That's a Sunday. Is that accurate?
That is accurate.
Thank you, MD. Trust but verify. Even me, it works for me too. So just as much as we're stressing signing up for Cedar Creek this coming weekend, we are stressing signing up for Brackenridge Park 2-person 9-9, the 24th of July. The 2 July events are going to sell out. They're going to sell out early. And then we go to the individual stroke play South Side Summer Swing. We anticipate Mission Del Lago individual stroke play being open for registration early next week. As soon as the podcast next week, Tuesday, while we're recapping the Cedar Creek stroke play, which should be fun. I love playing at Cedar Creek because the bell curve of scores gets greater.
That should be a
so-
fun stats one for Birdie.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing the stats section after Cedar Creek. Really excited for that. MD, I have no idea where we are on the lineup.
You know what? It's at this point.
Throw it
we're
out the
fine.
window.
It's fine. We're fine. And I get signed up for Riverside too. Riverside opened up. It's already got plenty of people signed up
It's in
already
great
too.
shape.
I know that for a fact.
Her Mission's in great shape. They're like resodding and renovating the kitchen, and the Rockin' G grill looks great on the video.
Grill looks
The
great.
bar and grill looks awesome. I'm super excited for the bar and grill at Mission. Mission has improved a ton, I'm told. I haven't been down there yet, but I'm told it's turning the corner both in the golf shop and on the maintenance team. Clint is the head golf professional / superintendent there, so it's one person overseeing both departments for Mission Del Lago Golf Course, which is unique for the trail. It's the only facility where the course manager supervises the maintenance team. And Clint's a PGA professional, super good guy, really like him, really like his attitude, excited to be back on the south side. But let's not count our chickens before they're hatched. We've got Cedar Creek to get through before we get there. We've got Brackenridge Park and a new format to get through before we get there. And we've got a stroke play event at Riverside before we get to Mission Del Lago. So 3 events open for registration. They are standard points at Cedar Creek, double points at Brackenridge Park, and then standard points at Riverside and Mission. The point standings are starting to separate. Lots of good golf being played. Summer season normally kind of tapers off a little bit on volume, but it's not going to be that way this year. They are going to sell out. Point standings are going to come right down to the wire again. The playoffs this year are going to be so big. I know, right? We are starting to talk about playoffs.
We have to.
That schedule is on the ACGT website now. Playoffs start October 15th at Olmos Basin, and the week of October 15th and 16th at Olmos, and then the following week, the 22nd and 23rd at Brackenridge Park, Tour Championship weekend, and then right back to Olmos Basin for this year's South Texas Match Play Challenge. The rest of the summer schedule looks great. We should be able to release the 2023 schedule sometime during the summer regular season, so stay tuned for that. Lots of awesome changes coming up on tour for the 2023 season. We'll talk way more about those. I think so. I think it really is. I'm not sure if it's tucked in or if it's hanging loose with cuts on the bottom. If it was hanging loose with cuts on the bottom, it would be so badass.
That would have to be self-inflicted. This is tucked in, but this is the Sunday Swagger, Fred Flintstone. This is.
I love it.
I
knew it right away. MD.
I've been waiting to break it out.
Is so good. Yeah, it's so good.
Sunday Swagger.
I like rocking this shirt because it was the first shirt that had the ACGT Tour Travels logo on it. So I thought that was this shirt's special to me because of that. Yeah. So, and then Jason's rocking last year's South Texas Match Play Challenge shirt. So we brought the shirt game tonight. It's on point. Good job, everybody. Thanks for pointing that out, Michael. I appreciate the attention to detail that you got going on right now. Appreciate that.
We're style icons.
I believe that to be the case.
Well, I mean, that's I'm so glad we're talking about this.
And I think it's a good segue.
I agree completely, MD. I agree completely. I was going to take my time tonight to talk a little bit about the future of the podcast. Our viewership has grown every week since we launched, and our core topics are going to continue to be about the tour golfer and the Alamo City Golf Trail Tour and the city of San Antonio and golf here. That is our core market. We are still going to focus on the tour golfer and providing them a platform that exists nowhere. That's our primary mission objective, right? But as we continue to expand viewership, we want to talk about merchandise. We want to talk about equipment reviews. We want to talk about new golf balls. We want to talk about the LIV Tour and what's going on with the LIV Tour versus the PGA Tour. I think that's a really cool topic. I want to talk about the PGA Tour. I want to talk about the business of golf. I want to take 15 to 20 minutes every podcast in the future and talk about broader golf topics. I got a pretty strong opinion about a lot of things, and I know MD and Jason do too, and the other ambassadors do as well. And we want to share our opinions on the business of golf and golf in general on a state level, on a national level, on a world level. And then we want to talk a little bit more about our social, our personal lives, right? I wasn't expecting the sunburn picture to come in so soon in the podcast, but I think it's important that we give people who tune in to view with us a little view into our personal lives, what it takes to put on the podcast, what it takes to run the tour, bring you some behind the scenes setup, logistical stuff, and just bring you some more all access to what the Alamo City Golf Trail Tour is. No filter podcast stuff. Some comments and opinions viewers aren't going to agree with, and I think that's okay. But we'll expand the topics in future tours, and I just want to prep everybody out there for that is coming. And we've listened to some comments, and we want to talk about, what's going on in the wide world of golf outside of the tour, while keeping the tour golfer our primary focus point. MD, Jason, you got stuff to add on that? I know that's a huge.
I think it's interesting that we get so much feedback on the podcast. I was out at TPC and somebody said, "Hey, I've seen you on that podcast." And I was like, "Yeah." And, everyone says it's great that you talk about the tour. We love the tour. The tour is awesome. But I want to hear your guys' opinion on golf balls. You want to hear my opinion on golf balls? Okay.
Well, let's do some equipment reviews. I did an equipment review with Michael Freeman way back when we first launched the Alamo City Golf Trail
I used
video
to look up the
newsletter.
YouTube videos that you had.
Yeah. There's some old one there. My hair wasn't
those.
as cool as it is now. But so some product reviews, equipment reviews. I want to talk about MD's shirt. I want to put up a line of Sunday swagger. I want to bring the tour golfer information on the cool golf stuff that we see, that we do. I want to talk about how we play golf a little bit too. And I want to correlate that to higher flight handicappers, champ flight, first flight, golf professionals. We look at the golf course a little differently sometimes than maybe a 15 or 20 handicapper. And I want to talk about how we play a hole a little differently if we're guarding a lead or if we're trying to get one. I think those are really cool segments that we could talk about as well. And it gets you into our golf games a little bit. And we try to have a buttload of fun when we're playing golf. I think that's one of my missions.
I had so much fun playing the front nine from the tips all Saturday.
Well, we could... and we could talk a lot about the games we play. I think it's really, really important to note that I just saw the internal comment there. That's okay. I have no problem with that. We can keep going. That's perfectly fine. I love that. I think one of the core mission statements of the tour is that we play tournament golf, we play golf by the rules, and we have a shitload of fun doing it. And it's the social aspect of golf and the camaraderie of the tour that I want to hammer on so much, that we can play competitive golf, and when I'm on the golf course I definitely have said that to Patrick. I definitely have said that to Patrick, and it's important, right? It's important, and we talk a lot about perspective, right? And the show never stops. The tour never turns off for the guys on this screen. Jason always has to be in ACGT tour mode because he never knows when somebody's going to walk up to him on the driving range and talk to him about the tour. MD's on social media for the tour all the time. It never turns off for him. And for me, the show never turns off. My phone and email are constantly going. When I'm at a golf course, it's important for me, being the PGA golf professional on the top of the pyramid, to maintain some sort of playability. So that perspective for me, when I'm out playing with these guys or with the ambassadors on the weekend, we're having a shitload of fun, but that's the work environment that we're trying to create as well. That's work. It just happens. We happen to have a lot of fun doing it. And
I always think
you never work
think of
a
it
day in
as-
your life if you're doing what you love.
And I always think
I
agree. I always think of when we go play, or I think of when we go play as like an opportunity for us to like brainstorm ideas. I mean, and you talk about we're always kind of on. I mean, how often do you call me at 9:00 at night and Cindy's like, is that Travis? Is that Travis calling?
Oh yeah.
I was like,
yeah, it is.
I'm like, yeah, it is. So deal with it. And how often am I texting Travis different ideas that I'm thinking?
Right. It never stops, and we're constantly brainstorming ideas to provide more access to cooler places, for ACGT Tour travels, for merchandising ideas, for playability, for formats. There's a new format on the summer schedule this year. It never shuts off. It's constantly going, and we have a ton of fun doing it. And that's the most important aspect for me, is that everybody knows that the ACGT Tour provides a tournament atmosphere for skill levels of all levels, and it is a crap load of fun to boot. And I have a ton of fun, and the ambassadors have a ton of fun, and that is the culture of the Alamo City Golf Trail Tour, is that golf and tournament golf is fun. It's fun.
And I think you see the duality of that when I love that word.
I got.
Yeah, get ready.
All right, we're going straight to the dictionary. Hold on.
I just Jason burned the heck out of that.
Sheck?
The
Shekels?
I stopped myself. No, I mean, you think about it. On the golf course, you're creating that kind of environment. Anyone can play any skill level. But then you think about the fun of it. I mean, you have fun on the golf course, but I mean, it's one of those things, sitting in the clubhouse all day at Riverside, doing scoreboards and hanging out with everyone, having drinks, having some food, relaxing, talking about the cool things that happened, talking, hey, I had a hole in one. Hey, I had my personal best. I mean, that stuff's so much fun. There's so many laughs coming out of that. And that's
some of my favorite moments on the tour events themselves are recapping the flights. Like that's some of my favorite minutes. I love when everybody in the flight is still in the room, whether it's the grill room at Cedar Creek or the lounge area, or the lounge area at Cedar Creek, or the grill room at Northern Hills or Willow, and everybody's in there, and they kind of know who's getting a victory cookie, and when they get up and they do the Steve Robert fist pound, or I like that. That's so cool for me. Yeah, everybody's into it,
and even
maybe I'm standing on a chair yelling. I mean, that's the most fun and the most engaging.
And I always think that the guys. Let's face it, the guys who are winning or who know they're kind of in that spot, they usually hang around. I see a lot of people who, let's be honest, they might be DFL. I mean, they might be nowhere near, but they're hanging out to clap.
Yep,
that's me.
Yep. That is, it shows the love they have for their, for their flight, for the guys that they're playing with, for the tour, and just really, really
for
respectful.
golf in general. Yeah, for golf in
Yeah.
general. And that is the culture that the tour has transformed into, metamorphosized into, if for lack of small word there. It's the culture of tournament golf that's fun, and
We're having fun.
We're having fun.
We're having fun because we're having fun. Yeah.
We're having fun.
All right, I'm going back to check the outline lineup for tonight. Let's see. We're 45 minutes in. We didn't talk about that. Oh, we talked about registration.
I mean,
we didn't talk about that. I think we're doing great.
I mean, you know what? One of the things I'd love to come back to talk about, I know we're, one of the things I'm super excited for, again, we've highlighted it. We want to talk about equipment. We want to talk about golf balls. We want to talk about style apparel. We want to talk about things happening in the golf world. The golf world is in a really, really unique position right now. It's getting more attention. It's got more news lines than it has in years on much bigger platforms.
Yeah, golf is on the front page of ESPN every day right now. And that doesn't happen.
It's not a thing.
I think awesome as
Hashtag 54.
Jason, do we have any comments, questions in that comment thread that we could talk about, seeing as we're just kind of having a jam session podcast right now?
Oh, yeah.
Anybody got anything? Anybody got anything in the comments?
Yeah,
there we go.
Throwing down. Casey Graham is throwing down.
I like the nerd emoji there. I wonder what the significance is there.
I'll take Casey for 1,000 at Cedar.
Whoa. Listen, I love Casey Graham to death, and I don't want him to get mad at the next sentence out of my mouth.
Too late.
But the most likely outcome there is where I'm placing my money, that Michael Freeman would beat Casey Graham at Cedar Creek.
Oh,
I'm sorry. It's facts. It's just facts. Filterless approach. I'd take Michael.
You know what?
I know. I'm sorry. I apologize, but I would like to thank you for watching live. We appreciate that.
I'm gonna go out. See, look, there he is. I'm gonna put my money on Casey Graham. So
you know what?
This is nothing against Michael.
We talked
Freeman.
about this. We talked about this, and here we go. We're always brainstorming. We need to do this segment on future podcasts leading up
to make this
like
a poll
the
right now
like
on
the
Facebook.
college game day where they put like pictures.
They put their heads on.
Of who picks who. Yes, we are doing that. Thank you so much.
I want a giant Michael Freeman
head.
head.
It never shuts up.
I need a giant Michael Freeman head.
I want that so bad. Yes.
I'm just gonna hold up a pair of crazy pants. That's my Casey sign.
See,
but
I see how much fun that is. I will also take Jason Bird over Pat DeCosimo. I think that is also
bet on that.
A solid bet.
I like that one.
Now there's some pressure on Michael. I apologize.
No, Mike, there's
Patrick
no
is mad.
pressure.
Patrick is mad. Casey is mad. I mean, this is great. What a great show.
Bud.
See what happens. Do you see what happens, folks, when you
Everyone's
don't
angry.
follow the set script? Everybody gets mad because Trav just talks.
Well, I mean,
mad.
We can stop
but that's okay. That's okay. It's the same thing we talked about with the PGA Tour. Half of those comments are negative comments, but you know what? There's still comments on the front page. So viewer interaction, happy or angry, we'll take those comments. It's all about those comments. Do we have anything in the comment box that we could talk about that's not going to upset Casey, Patrick, or Michael? Oh, there we go. Okay. How about
Jason Bird jumping in on the equipment.
Jason Bird got new equipment today, folks. Jason, you want to share with us what you got, where you got fit, who is doing the equipment check on those clubs now?
How many years did it take to get?
Why is an equipment check needed when you purchase new clubs. I think that's a great topic.
Yes.
What do
So,
you get? And let's see them.
I got fit by Ian at Callaway like 3 years ago, and I've been using my Callaway Apex 19s since then. They're over 3 years old. Can you believe I haven't got new irons in 3 years? It's kind of a miracle
I
to me.
can, because the Apex 19 is, in my opinion, the best Apex line ever made. I think it's better than the 21s, and I think it's better than the 16s. I think the Apex 19s and the Apex Pros are the best line.
I have the Apex Pro 2019, and they are just beat to hell. The pitching wedge has hit 6 or 7 rocks. Ben Carricker over at San Pedro Academy has beat the shit out of that pitching wedge and gotten it back, but now it's no bueno. I could
You want to go see some beautiful strike marks on a club? Go look at the consistency on Jason Bird's irons.
Yeah, it's pretty nice, but
doesn't know where he's aiming, but by God, he hits it.
No, I have no idea where they're going, but they're going out of the center of the face, that's for sure. But yeah, they're just getting old, beat up. Lots of chunks taken out of them. The 8 iron's got a big chunk out of it. The 5 iron's been repaired. So I got a set of sub 70. I got a combo set. I got the TCs and the pitching wedge through 7 iron here.
Pretty.
Yeah, there they go. I'm on camera. Focus in on it.
There we go.
Anyway, I got this. I got the shafts that I've been playing for 3 years. The tour issue dynamic golds and black and gold grip. The black and gold special edition MCC 4s.
And they're a little long, so they're a little heavy. Is that accurate?
Yeah, they came in a little longer than I ordered them. So goes back to your comment about equipment check. We're going to take it over to Ben Carricker over at San Pedro. Probably have him check it out. By my own amateur measurements, I think they're about a ½ inch too long, and some of them up to 3/4 of an inch too long. So they came out pretty heavy.
So everybody watching right now, here's a question. Let's ask a question out there. Let's get some engagement in the comments. What would happen to the playing characteristics of Jason's club if they came 3/4 of an inch too long? So, okay, yes, the club is 3/4 of an inch too long, but what does that change about the club characteristics? Nice clubs. They look sexy. Good configuration. Fit by Ian at Callaway. Those specs cross over.
Yep.
And the big thing here that I want to get to is Jason just got new clubs, spent a buttload of money to get new clubs, and then instantly takes them to Ben to check them out. Why? Why, do you ask? They're brand new. They should be perfect. No, they are not. New clubs come from the manufacturers with a plus or minus 2-degree tolerance. 2-degree tolerance plus or minus. How many degrees are in between clubs?
It could
4.
be up to just 1. Yeah, 4.
Yeah, 4. Exactly. 4 is the standard, right? So
so the pitching wedge could be 48 or it could be 44, right? And,
if it's plus or minus 2, right? So if your 8 iron is plus 2 degrees tolerance and your 7 iron is minus 2 degrees tolerance, you are still
almost the same loft.
You're within tolerance. The manufacturer says, yes, these are good. Ship. You have 2 7 irons in your bag, or you have 2 7.5 irons in your bag, I guess would be the accurate statement there. But yes, always get an equipment check. I do it every year. I do it every year just because I play forged clubs. Jason's new clubs are forged. Forged clubs are a little softer. They can bend. It's the Texas Hill Country, and there's rocks. The ground's a little firm. I try to do an equipment check every year just to make sure, and there's always 1 or 2 that need to be adjusted. But every time you order clubs or buy clubs off the rack, take them to Ben at San Pedro, pay his equipment check fee. That way you get the lengths, you get the weights, you get the swing weights, you get the lofts, and you get the lies, and you can eliminate the equipment as a potential deviator for bad shots.
Yeah,
I
I
mean-
mean, how many times have we played with a random person who says, "Man, I hit my 5-iron just as far as my 6-iron," and I bet you 9 times out of 10 that person's never had their loft checked.
Or the amateur golfer who says, "Man, I love my 7-iron. It's the best club in my bag. I hit it great." And then you look at the 7-iron, and the 7-iron specs are completely different than the rest of his clubs, and the 7-iron fits him appropriately. And when the golf professional that he's seeing adjusts the rest of his clubs to that one, miraculously, the rest of them improve as well.
And you also
Correct.
see issues too where people, you think about moving across sets, or when you have like a combo set, for example. So like for me, I play a set of Mizunos. I play the set of 221s, which are their blades in the pitch through 8, and then 7 through 4 in their more like player cavity back. The loss on those are very different in how they're set up. Like their 7-iron spec versus in one versus another, very different. So also making sure that you're getting the right blend of loft throughout your set, because you also have a lot of people who are like, I've been playing with these cavity backs, I'm ready to go get a set of blades, and then they're like, well, I hit these 12 yards short or 15 yards shorter. It's like, well, you're playing traditional lofts and you have less forgiveness, and if you're not aware of that, or if you don't make sure those adjustments happen and strengthen the lofts a little bit, you might see that. So just being aware of that kind of stuff as well. And then, some of the other things, like I like to test clubs. You guys know me. Bird knows me. I am a horrifically, I will test out anything and everything. If I think it gives me some sort of competitive edge, or if I think it might feel better, I at least want to demo and test it. And to that end, I'm always mixing and playing with different clubs too. I try and set the bag as close as I can, but I experiment with lead tape. Like that's my go-to. Like that's my fun thing to do, because I spend all day mixing with tape, looking at where it's set up on the back of the club or where it's set up on the club, trying to figure out my flights, spin, that kind of stuff as well.
I agree. When I was teaching back in the golf operations days, I loved lead tape. I would manipulate students' ball flight with lead tape so much. I had an employee, we won't name names. I had an employee who I made a driver for, and it was awesome. It was like a 40-inch driver, and I had lead tape all over the head. I had lead tape on the crown. I mean, I had racing stripes across the crown, and he hit it great. It was awesome. And then as he grew and got stronger, the club got longer and the lead tape got less because he could handle a longer club. Let's go back to Jason's clubs just for a second. I want to follow up on the question that I asked there. What happens to the configuration, the playing characteristic of the golf club, if it comes in 3/4 of an inch too long? What happens? It gets heavier. There's just more mass, right? The club is longer, so there's just more total weight because we've added 3.5. We've added 3/4 of an inch of shaft there, so it just gets heavier. But what dramatically changes is the swing weight. Swing weight is the weight of the club head at the end of the fulcrum. How much? How much weight is on the end of the club when Jason holds it in his hands? So the further away the club head gets from your hands, the more weight is added to the swing weight. Swing weight's measured in A, B, C, D, E categories 1 through 10. Most manufacturers sell their clubs at D1 or D2 standard. So standard length, standard loft, standard lie. Your clubs are going to come D1 or D2, somewhere in there. So the idea behind that is to get all of your irons from 3 or 4 iron all the way down to pitching wedge, the same swing weight. So when you make contact with the ball, the weight of your club head feels the same throughout your whole set. Now, how is that possible? We just talked about the club head being further away and weighing more. Well, what changes is the weight of the club head itself. The weight of the club head itself gets heavier the more loft the club head has. So the shorter the club, the heavier the club head. That produces swing weight. And there's your off-topic, fun golf segment of the night that wasn't scripted at all.
So, like, I measured this one with my amateur ruler to be about 3/4 of an inch at the 4-iron. 4-iron's a D7. And as you know, Travis, a D7 4-iron's pretty heavy.
Yeah.
I noticed it immediately, and I picked it up. My girlfriend's like, "How can you tell?" I was like, "Listen, I can just tell the minute I picked it up."
You can just tell, yeah, absolutely. You can just tell.
And so, static weight, it's still only 5 grams heavier, right? But it's over 5 swing weights heavier than my current 4-iron. And I think my current 4-iron now is a little light. I like my irons around D3, D4. But what happens when you hack off 3/4 of an inch? That D7 is now right where I wanted it, D3, D4, you know?
Exactly right. So, and let's take this let's take this conversation one step more. Of course, we want consistency through the set, right? We want to eliminate the equipment issues, right? It's always the player, never the equipment. We want to eliminate the equipment altogether. But let's talk about physical longevity of the tour golfer, right? The average age on the tour is in the 50s, and the heavier the swing weight, the heavier the shaft, the heavier the club, the more vibrations at impact, the more pain in the wrists and golfer elbow and all of that good stuff. So proper equipment across the board, proper equipment specs can also contribute to injuries and playing longevity.
And Travis, to that point,
graphite irons is what a lot of people should do.
And that's not even people like, older people with the slower swing speed. I mean, that I made the transition to graphite shafts late last year, and I've been playing with the 110 to 120 gram shaft, depending on the set that I've played with to keep the weights. But from a perspective of someone who does fight some injuries in his wrists and elbows and stuff like that, just from outside forces from working out or whatever it is, it's been an absolute lifesaver. And not only that,
I agree completely.
It changes the feel. It helps create some different trajectories for me. I hit the ball a little bit higher than I've traditionally ever hit it. There's a lot of things that you can do, and I don't think shafts get nearly enough consideration when you're looking at a golf club. I think everyone just kind of looks
engine of the club.
I can't disagree with Jason's statement more. The shaft is the tool that delivers the club head to the ball, and that is it. That is their shafts. Oh my gosh, we could talk about a whole podcast about
there you go.
Oh my gosh, we ticked a button there for me right there. The shaft. Oh my goodness. What were we talking about before we get into the shafts? We were talking about graphite shafts and irons.
Yeah.
It used to be such a negative connotation for good players to have graphite shafts in their irons. That is not the case anymore. Shaft technology in graphite has advanced so much in the last 10 years in irons. It feels like you're playing steel, but it gives you the impact absorption of graphite.
The recoil, MMTs, steel fiber.
The air, 100%. I personally play graphite shafts in my irons, and it changed my golf game. It allowed me to play more. I dealt with a very bad wrist injury. I broke a bone in my wrist, and it scar tissue together. It was exceptionally painful. I left the chiropractor crying a couple times, for real. And switching to graphite shafts improved the pain management there. And I can't stress that enough. There are things and fitting and stressing proper fitting and proper equipment and the equipment checks. Let's eliminate the equipment from the equation. And now let's switch segments to Jason's comment about the shaft being the engine of the club. Let me tell you a fun fact. Now this is 5-6 years ago. I was at Callaway headquarters in Carlsbad, California, and Travis Selkowski said the exact same thing. The shaft is important to the ball flight characteristics. Now, really, really not the case as much as you think. It is the club head and how the club head is delivered that is going to impact the ball flight the most. When I was there for master fitting school, and we took the stock shaft at the time, which was the Generation 1. I'm sorry, I got distracted by the comment. We took the stock shaft, the Hazardous 1. Stock shaft came with the club at the time, which I think was the first Rogue. Is that correct?
I believe that was
it's somewhere. Yeah. It's somewhere in there. And then we put a $375 Oban HL shaft in there as well. Almost the exact same characteristics. It was a stiff shaft. It was the same length. It was the same flex. It was really, 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 really close to the same torque. Torque is twist on the bottom of the shaft. That's what torque is. So flex is the flexing of the shaft down the target line, and torque is how much the club head twists at the end of the shaft. And the metrics were almost the same, except the driver with that shaft was $750 versus $399 at the time, or whatever it was. And it changed the spin. The $375 shaft changed the spin 30. It changed the spin 30 cycles of backspin. Almost not measurable. It didn't affect the deviation at all, left or right, and it only reduced the backspin by 30 cycles. Now, with that being said, there are shafts on the market now that reduce spin and reduce launch angle by kick points. Absolutely. Absolutely. If we're comparing apples to oranges, we're going to change the ball flight. If we're comparing a higher torque, stiff, low kick point stock shaft versus a $400 low torque, high kick point shaft, of course, we're going to change ball flight characteristics. But if we're comparing apples to apples, shaft means almost nothing. I can't hammer that home enough. Almost nothing. I know everybody's minds are blown that everybody's watching right now. Do you want to know what shaft companies are really, really good at?
Marketing.
They are really good at marketing. They are really good at convincing the players that this is sex appeal and this is going to help you play better golf. And you know what? If you get some placebo effect out of it, if Patrick DeCosimo gets some placebo effect out of his $700 shaft and he stands over the ball more confident because he looks good, feels good, and plays good because of it, that is awesome. That's great. If that placebo effect helps him hit the ball further, that's awesome. That's perfectly okay. I believe my first sentence in talking about this segment was that people were going to disagree with the stuff that we said. But I'll tell you what, if we compare apples to apples, I will take Jason's launch monitor and I will go to any driving range on any comparable stock shaft versus any comparable high-end shaft, and I guarantee you the numbers are going to be less than 5% difference. Guaranteed.
I think the other piece of that too is it's like doing a fitting indoors versus doing a fitting outdoors. Depending on the environment, depending on the person swinging, again, it's placebo effect. If I think it'll work, chances are it's probably going to work better.
Oh, exactly. Exactly. How many times did I give Jason Bird a lesson and not tell him what I did to the club head? Every time.
And yeah. And that's literally the point is you know what? And I'm always first to admit, like, if you were to throw down a hazardous shaft in it, the first thing I'd say is it's not my shaft. Like, I'm already standing over it saying, I don't know, it could be the same thing, but I'm like, I don't know if this is going to be right. And so I'm altering my swing, whether I really acknowledge it or not. It's a subconscious deal where I'm manipulating my swing differently. I'm doing something different to try and prove
100%.
my
Yes.
point.
Patrick, I implore you to ask any fitter who is honest and knows what they're talking about. Shaft means so little. Why don't you roll in to Greg Hiller at TPC tomorrow and ask him how much shaft means? Give it a shot. See what he tells you. He's going to tell you shaft means shit. I promise. I promise.
I love it.
I promise. It's okay. It's okay.
I love alliteration.
And again, if there is some placebo effect and a $500 shaft makes you hit the ball better, well, hey, that's awesome. Let's do that. That's great. But I think what you're saying I have fit so many people. I have fit so many people into so many clubs, and I've been through fitting school with Callaway. I've been through fitting school with TPI and Titleist. Shaft means so little. The shaft is no more than the tool that delivers the club head to the golf ball.
Travis, I'll say this because I'm as guilty as anybody. If you have the money to put towards the nicer shafts, like I have an LA Golf shaft in my putter. I have a graphite shaft in my putter. Does that truly make the biggest difference in the world? Maybe none at all.
Hell yeah, it does.
I believe in some ways it does, but that's just because it's here. And if you have the ability to go get it and think that makes it better, I think to your point, it's the confidence level. I can tell you, I stand over the ball with my stuff and I'm like, I picked it, I set it up, I know exactly every spec to it, it's going to work.
Now, again, we're going to talk about me, and it's by no means am I a scratch handicap anymore, but I hit the ball pretty well on the Kohler trip. Yeah. And I agree with Ruben's comment. Weight in club fitting is important. But again, we're not talking about apples to oranges. We're talking about comparing stock statistics to high-end statistics. If we are comparing apples to apples on shafts, we are not going to see dramatic game changes in ball flight characteristics. It's just not going to happen.
I think what's happening here, Trav, is we all agree on the objective.
No one
data.
wants to admit how much money they've spent.
No. I really believe this is what's occurring here, is that we agree on the objective data, but we're looking at it from different lenses, right? Travis is your golf professional who has been fitting and working with 30 handicaps his entire career, and 5% ain't going to help that guy almost anything because he's got variance in his golf swing that's 30%. Now, you look at the people who are disagreeing with Travis's statement, Stephen Evans and Patrick, and me to a little bit of an extent. I hear 5% spin reduction. That gets me going. I want that. 5% to the low handicap means something. 5% to the high handicap doesn't mean anything. Right. But we both agree it's 5%.
Well, again, and I just threw out a static number there. It's not based on any specific one fitting, but again, if we're comparing apples to apples, and I've put a stock shaft in the robot, and I've put a high-end shaft in the robot that had the same specs. One shaft cost $400 extra. One shaft was stock and came with the club, and they produced the exact same results in the robot over and over and over and over and over again.
I think in the Iron Byron, it's going to be pretty static. I think the big difference in the quality of shaft comes in with feels and the way the individual players will deliver that club.
I agree with the feel comment, and I agree with the placebo effect that you followed up with there. If there is a confidence boost that you get from having a high-end aftermarket shaft, and that makes you play better, awesome. Let's do it. I'm all about it. So what I was going to say is when I was in Kohler, I on the 8th hole of the first round on the ACGT Tour Travels trip, I broke my $375 Oban TR. and I put in a rental club shaft and proceeded to hit the ball the exact same distance with the exact same spin and the exact same trajectory for the rest of the week.
I mean, I played with you immediately. I was playing with you
when it broke, and again, I didn't try to do anything too crazy. I agree with Bird's comment that the high end shaft will feel better at impact on miss hits. Maybe not better on direct solid hits if we're again comparing apples to apples, but if I can hammer anything home in this segment of this podcast, it is that shaft means very, very, very little. And that is from years of fitting. It's what the club manufacturers will tell you. It's what good fitters will tell you. And again, apples to apples, we will not see shot characteristics that are grossly different between a stock shaft and a high-end shaft.
I agree they won't be grossly different. I think at some point it all becomes iterative. Everyone's trying to get that half a stroke gain here or there. Probably could affect your ball flight more and tipping your shaft correctly.
You're exactly correct. And there we're not talking apples to apples again. We're talking apples to oranges again. We're talking about changing shaft characteristics. And I'm all about that. By no means am I saying don't spend money on expensive clubs, because you can do stuff with them to make your shot characteristic change to the way you want it, right? Mm-hmm. So for example, I wanted my ball to go left more with my club head, so I added loft, right? I added loft to my driver to go left.
But why did you add loft on the driver? Because it closes the face, which
it closes the face.
It gives you a left bias.
Yes, but again, I stand by that statement. The shaft is absolutely not the engine of the club. It is only the tool that you hang on to deliver the club head to the ball. That's it.
So it's like the chip that's delivering the guacamole to my mouth. You're saying the shaft and the chip are the exact same.
It could be a ruffle, it could be a tostada, it could be a Frito, and it's delivering the guacamole to your mouth, apples to apples. Nothing is changing.
I see what you're saying. So you're saying I could have guacamole with ruffles and not a tortilla chip, and it'd be the same.
Yes, and it's not going to dramatically change your ball flight punch.
That is a hot take. Ruffles with guacamole. I don't know, guys.
We are doing a chips and guac test next week.
But yeah, I agree with the feel comment. It'll feel better. But
I mean, after all that, he wouldn't buy a new shaft anyway.
There we go. I love it. But again, that's my opinion. And clearly Patrick and Steven disagree. I'll be happy to spend time on the driving range with both of them and comparing shots and numbers on launch monitors. If we're comparing apples to apples, I have no problem with that. I'll go down there and do it myself. I don't care. I can deliver and that's the cool part about talking to Patrick and Steven is they're scratch golfers, right? And they can deliver the club head relatively similar both times. However, I believe that they will both swing differently if they know what equipment setup is what and where. I believe that will happen, and I'm basing that comment on hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of fittings and lessons. That if they know that this configuration is different and higher end and supposed to be better, they will deliver the club head differently. Anybody will.
I always remember the times that I'd come out San Pedro, change my club a little bit, and I'd ask, "What did you change?" And you're like, "Doesn't matter, just swing the club."
Yeah, just you be you, man, and let's try to be as non-biased as possible. Yeah.
How many people walk into their Golf Galaxy, their Dick's Sporting Goods, whatever, bang a driver in the simulator? They're like, hitting this so good, I got to get it, and then I take it out to the golf course, and all of a sudden I can't hit it.
Yeah, for sure, 100%.
It's a different environment. You're putting a different swing on. It has to be a blind test.
I agree that And that's something that I tried to do when I was giving fittings or teaching, was taking stuff out of it. Trying to take that out. Like, you didn't know, like I didn't tell you. And sometimes I'd do nothing, right? Sometimes I'd just make an extra click to make you think that I did something so that it was different. And then it was the same thing. So it's about trying to keep the student in the dark there too, so that they can produce as many consistent shots during a fitting as you can. Again, we're not talking about tour players. We're talking about the 15 handicaps. And if we get some placebo effect from the shafts and the equipment, that's awesome. But I think the club head is 99% more important than the 1% shaft.
You mean these beautiful club heads right here?
I love that. I love that.
The 4
and like I said, there's going to be tons of people that disagree, and that's awesome. That's totally cool. You do you. That's great. But I promise to provide you an honest feedback of my opinion as well. You know? So I've fit a buttload of people. I've been to fitting schools at Callaway, fitting schools with Titleist, and shaft means so much less than everybody thinks it does. Let's go with that. I'll change my statement to that. Shaft means so much less than people think it does, versus me saying, it doesn't mean anything.
Well, another
even though
fun
I
fact,
still don't
Travis,
think it means anything.
is these club heads are unfinished. So they are already rusting now that I've taken them out of the plastic. And it has been less than 6 hours.
I love the raw
They
finish.
never went.
I
never
used
could get into that
to
look.
I used to play raw wedges in college way back in the day, and it was cool. You want to talk about dumb equipment shit? It was cool to rust out your wedges as much as you possibly could. We thought for some stupid reason that added spin. Of course it doesn't, but
Does not, for sure.
Do you remember TaylorMade's gimmicky wedge back in the day with the raw face? You remember those?
Yes, I remember those. I remember the Vokey oil cans. I mean, it was a marketing strategy to rust
those are
them out.
coming back now.
We used to put our clubs in lemon juice overnight outside of the college dorms at Ferris State to make them rust faster. Yeah.
when we were selling those at Dick's, when I was in the shop there, I can tell you right now, like, how many people would walk in because, you know, the guy who was putting them away would take the wrappers off and stick them on the shelf or something like that. Or someone, you know, would go over and mess with it.
They'd come back and think it was defective.
They'd come back, what's wrong with this? You know, there's something wrong with your wedges. I was like, nah, bro. Those are meant to be. That's what they want.
I love when people take it at spin.
Yeah, the only playing characteristic that raw enhances is it looks pretty cool, but it reduces wedge glare. That would be the only playing characteristic that I would suggest that a raw wedge enhance.
Man, I have to find it, but I remember one of those club testing sites that are rusty versus non-rusty wedge spin comparison, and they found that the rusted one actually spun less because it slips. It slips. It's the same. Yeah. It's the same exact reason you don't want grass and dirt between your club face and the ball, because it's added. It reduces.
It's a foreign material in between the golf ball and the face of the club. Yes.
Right. I was reading, and I always kind of thought about it this way as well, and it was kind of interesting because I was watching a podcast and they were talking about Tiger Woods, and they were talking about just when it comes to spin, what does Tiger think about spin? And Tiger's mentality is all of his clubs, all of his irons and stuff, he wants it to have the most spin possible. Because they were talking about some of his shots that he was hitting this weekend. And he's like, I want to have the most spin possible because it's easier to take the spin off and then put the spin on. And so I mean, anything, the idea that anything takes any spin off for me, I get stressed. I don't like that.
Reducing spin sucks. Left dash is terrible.
Bird, I feel like I heard you say this a while back. Is there a difference in the color of golf ball? What am I missing?
I'm sorry, Jason just said left dash is terrible. I think the Titleist golf ball line right now is rock star awesome. I think, and when I play, I change golf balls to course characteristics.
Yep.
That is something that I do
100%.
Because I'm going to compress the ball relatively similar each time. And the Pro V1 line right now is so good, in my opinion, at stepping down the spin, right? You start at Pro V1, that's got the most spin for me. And then there's Pro V1 Star when you can find them. It's not a real inline product, but there's an in-between Pro V and Pro VX ball. It's called the Pro V Star. And then the Pro V1X spins just a little less. And then the Pro V1 Left Dash spins just a little bit less than that. So each one compresses harder and goes just a touch further. If we were putting them in the robot, right? We're going to continue to say comparing apples to apples. If you're compressing them all the same, the Left Dash will go further than the X, then the Star, then the regular, right? So why does it go further? Because the golf ball produces less spin, right? So the further the ball goes off the tee, the less it's going to react on the green. So when we're on lightning fast and firm as crap greens, I'll start on the bottom of that spectrum with the most spin of the Pro V1, and I'll walk up the ladder. If I'm practicing for a tournament and I'm ripping back the Pro V1, well, then I'm going to walk up to the X, and now I'm going to rip the X back half. Okay, I'm still ripping the X back. Now we can go back to the Star, and the Star is going to drop and sit on that green. Well, that course is conditioned for the spin rate of the Star for Travis.
And I think
the more receptive the green. Now, I want to play the Left Dash. I want to play the Left Dash because I spin the ball a lot. And I want to play the Left Dash because it is a low spinning mother. Woo! So I can compete a little bit with the Jason Birds of the world off the tee with the Left Dash, but I can't compete with the Pro V1 because my spin rate's 700 more.
Right. And
I think
you put a lot of spin axis on your spin axis is greater than some, so more spin enhances that. So you definitely want to play the Left Dash as much as you can.
Now, with that being said, if I can't control the Left Dash on the green, I can't play it. I need to sacrifice the tee yards to get the
because
spin.
your strength is your wedges and short irons. If
Exactly.
you can't control that, you're not scoring no matter how far you hit it off the tee.
Exactly right. And where Jason looks at Jason's game, and this has been a great podcast. I love it. What was that comment?
Trajectory.
Again, this is something that Patrick's going to disagree with me on. In my personal golf game, I do not change ball flights on any of those golf balls. I'm going to try to flight that ball the whole time through the same window the whole time. I'm trying to have the launch height of my 4-iron is the same launch height as my pitching wedge. They are the same max trajectory.
You're talking apex.
Yes. They are my same. Well, I'm turning his trajectory. I'm taking his trajectory and matching it as apex, right? Launch angle trajectory towards an apex is the ultimate goal if we're at, right? So I'm trying to apex those out at the same, and whether I'm hitting a Pro V1 or a Left Dash, they're going to go through the same window.
I think that golf ball point is a really cool, and I think it's a unique call. And I know I think about it a little bit. I don't know how much people really do put that into perspective of I've got not only to pick, how I'm going to go play this golf course, but now I got to look at the golf ball. And that's just good planning. And that's something to think about, especially as we're getting ready for Cedar Creek this weekend. Think about course conditions, think about those kinds of situations, and be a little bit more willing. I mean, I have a couple of different, I typically carry maybe 2 or 3 specific golf balls in my bag at any given time, because when I walk out to the golf course, I go test out a couple of shots and see what feels the best out there.
I agree completely. Prepping for golf tournaments are huge. taking that golf ball conversation one step further. I want everybody to understand my thought process there. I want to make the same swing and produce different results with the equipment, right? My 7-iron swing, I try to emulate with my 4-iron. I get way over the ball. I try to hit 7-iron swing with my driver. I try to make the same golf motion and change equipment to produce different results, right? So I'm making the same quarter pick shot with my wedges. I make the same body motion, but I've got pitching wedge, gap wedge, sand wedge, and lob wedge. I make the same motion and I produce 4 different outcomes. And now we change the golf ball there and I've produced 16 different outcomes by making the exact same motion in my golf game, right? The easiest set of repeatable motions is what I want to do. It's what I want to teach, and it's what I want to teach you. It is the easiest set of repeatable motions to produce the shot that you want would be the full metric. And you know what? I wanna shout out Patrick and I want to shout out Steven for commenting on that. I think this has been an awesome 25 minutes. And I thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for commenting. I think it's been a great segment. Patrick's back to work, saving lives. Patrick is an emergency room doctor. Keep up the good work, Patrick. Hopefully it's not life-threatening and everything is good. I don't know what to say there. Sorry. Keep up the good work. Save lives.
Tell your patients to subscribe.
Thank you to Patrick and thank you to Steve for commenting. Both good players, both play in championship flight, both play a lot more golf than me right now, and I value their opinions and value their real world golf aspect. And thank you so much for commenting. And we're here to have these conversations and maybe open somebody's eyes and maybe close some too, you know?
And Travis, I think the other piece of this here too is, and correct me if I'm off base, I think the other piece of what you're saying here and how you're kind of delivering this information is more not necessarily directed specifically at Patrick or any of those guys. It's looking at maybe some of the higher handicap guys. It's looking, you're looking for the simplest way to make the most repetitive swings that are going to produce the best results. Now, there's some players.
That is a really, really good point, MD. We're not just talking about champ flight. We're not just talking about good players.
Third flight matters.
Yeah, we're talking about all players across all levels. And we're talking about budget content, conscious golfers just getting into the fitting world. That's what I want to hammer home my shaft comment to. And I want to hammer home Jason's shaft comment. Shaft manufacturers are good marketers. I will show you on a launch monitor that it really, if we're comparing apples to apples, it really doesn't mean that much.
Let's do it. I got one of those launch monitor things.
Heck yeah, you do. It's great.
And I think that's something we've talked about. And I'm gonna kind of jump us back in and wrap us up here a little bit. But that kind of goes back into some of the stuff that we're gonna be focusing on here in this summer.
What a cool unscripted podcast. Yeah, for sure.
I think this is a great example of it. I think that this leads us to be able to, for you guys specifically, let's go make the content. Let's go do this stuff. And we can put these videos together. We can put hard data up on the screen and show you. We have the tools, yeah. We have the things to do it. This is the kind of stuff we want to get your opinion on. If this is interesting or this matters to you, let's throw it up there. Let's make sure you guys are able to see it.
I agree.
And that's something I think that'll be.
And Ruben said he's got 25 shafts in his garage, so we've got some inventory.
I got the launch monitor. Ruben's got shafts. Where can we get some unlimited range balls?
I think we could take any one of those guys who comment tonight. Steven, Patrick, Michael, they deliver the club face great. I think it would be really cool to go out to TPC and shoot a video with Greg Hiller and myself.
Yeah,
I think that would be really cool. I think that would be really neat. But yeah, 100%. And MD's right. This is a little bit more what we're going to talk about on the off weeks. a little bit more equipment, a little bit more fitting, a little bit more testing, a little bit more golf in general. I can't wait for the Live Tour segment.
That's going to be that.
I think that's
not
great.
a segment. I think that's a whole episode.
I think it might be a whole episode.
That'll light up the comment board.
Listen, I turned down Greg Norman to stay with you, Travis, so I'm loyal.
So check this out. I bet you a lot of people don't know this. In 1968, the PGA Tour broke away from the PGA of America. The PGA of America used to run the PGA Tour. They are not affiliated. They do not like each other. They are not on the same page. They are not the same company. In 1968, the PGA of America got a brand new TV deal, and the players wanted better purses. The PGA was making all this money on the tournaments, and the players wanted bigger paychecks. Sound familiar? So they got a bunch of PGA professionals together that were on the PGA of America's PGA Tour at the time, and they broke away and created the PGA Tour. They did shit their way because they wanted to play for bigger money, and said, PGA of America, we don't want to be part of you anymore. We are breaking away. And now you have the TPC Golf Course Network. You have the PGA Tour as we know it, the FedEx Cup as we know it. None of that stuff is affiliated with the PGA of America. The PGA of America runs 2 golf tournaments a year. They run
the women's and men's PGA Championship,
women's and the men's PGA Championship, and then every other year they host the Ryder Cup. The Ryder Cup is the PGA of America's, but the USGA hosts the US 19, Open, the RNA hosts the British Open, and the PGA Tour hosts everything else, and they are separate businesses. And going further down the rabbit hole, Greg Norman pitched something like this once before to the PGA, and the PGA told him to pound sand, and then the next year launched the World Golf Championships. The next year. And
yep.
what did the PGA of America? I'm teasing the show. And what did the PGA of America do last week in response to the Live Tour? They just said, "Holy crap, we're gonna have this 8-event off-season, super huge purses, super huge format bullshit to directly compete with the Live Tour."
Yeah, but they're not gonna be paying $150,000 for some dickhead to go shoot an 80.
I'll go shoot 80 on TV for
I'll go shoot 80
every day.
I'll go shoot 98 on television.
I don't really watch. I don't watch golf that much, to be honest. I watch the bigger stuff.
I agree,
but I'm not wasting my weekend watching Pat Perez shoot a 79. It's just not happening.
The Live Tour is great, except the shotgun format's awful. I just think they need to get rid of it.
I will agree with Bird on that. I think that shotguns in stroke play events are not equitable.
I agree.
But I love it. I love the Live Tour, and MD said it in the beginning of the podcast. Golf is in the news right now, and it is good. So I see half a show dedicated to the Live Tour and on where that's going. I think before not too long we could see some sort of Live Tour versus PGA Tour Ryder Cup format. Especially if the PGA Tour stands firm and fast and says those dudes can't play on the Ryder Cup, because everybody else has gone wishy-washy. I read an article.
The Europeans
today,
and Americans team up against the Live Tour.
I read an article today that they let the Live Tour people in the Scottish Open coming up this week, so they caved. The US Open said, "Come on back." The British Open says, "We don't care." The Masters is supposed to say the same thing. So we'll see how intense it is. But you know what? Competition breeds success. So it's just more golf in the news. It's more golf on television. And I think it's pretty cool that dude shot 98 and cashed $150. I mean, I think that's great.
And
every day.
I sit on the fence. I play both sides because I can't lose that way.
Yeah.
So,
And end stream.
There we go. And we're done. There we go.
Yeah.
So I'm here for the tour. I'm here for Live, and I'm totally against it. It depends on the day, and it depends on the talking point behind it. But that is, we'll certainly dive into that as we go. I don't want to continue down the rabbit hole that is just the Live Tour against the PGA and all this other stuff. Everyone out there, thank you for watching. We're at the 1 hour and 40-minute mark. We have blown past.
Yeah, it was supposed to be a
outline.
short show tonight because of the off season or the off week. Yes. Everybody sign up for Cedar Creek. There are a few spots open. Brackenridge Park, we found out, is almost sold out for the 9-9. Jason Berg playing the Wheel of Fortune rules wins on the podcast time duration. I just saw a comment from Stephen Evans. I want to correct myself there. It wasn't the Scottish Open caving to let them in. It was a court appeal that those players won to be allowed to play.
So isn't it ironic? The entire reason these players went to the Live Tours to play less golf, and now they're suing to play more golf.
They can't play the golf they want to play.
I just don't understand.
They just half the deal is that they don't like being told what to do, right?
I mean
that's half the
mostly
deal.
what it is. Yeah.
So
You're not
listen,
like that.
again, I go back to negative publicity is good publicity. It doesn't matter. Golf is in the news right now. Golf is hot. Let's keep going. Sign up for Cedar Creek. Thank you for watching. I'll shut up and let these guys take you away. Thank you so much, MD. Take us away.
Yep, guys, thank you so much. This is an absolutely great show. Really enjoyed talking to you guys about, all these different topics. We got into a lot of stuff. Especially thanks to everyone watching out there. Appreciate everyone commenting, getting involved, jumping in. Again, opinions differ. It's a strong debate back and forth, but it's always going to be respectful. It's always going to be fun. We're going to keep it entertaining and fresh. Appreciate our sponsors. Appreciate you guys, the rest of the ambassadors. Ruben continuing to make sure Brack is looking great and that the tour is at its peak. That's all I got for us. Bird, you got anything for us?
I'm gonna go play Brack tomorrow.
Yeah, Ruben Caraveo jumped in
Get
there.
at
By
it.
the way, Brack is in awesome shape. Stephen Evans commented that there was a Billy Haas interview from today that sums up the Live Tour and the Scottish Open. Check that out. I'll try to have Jason post that in that link in the comments as well. That's all I got. Sign up for Cedar Creek. Sign up for Brackenridge Park. Thank you for watching. Again, the more and more we break off onto golf topics, the more and more opinions are going to differ, and that's okay. And I think that's great. I am excited for those conversations. I am excited to ban those comments and block those posters. I can't wait to do that. No, I'm just kidding. Thanks everybody for joining us on your Tuesday night. Thank you so much. We will see you winning on tour at Cedar Creek this weekend. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you on tour at Cedar ASAP.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.